Okay, there I am. This is better. Couldn't see the chat. Forgot to grab the porta mics, the little Wi-Fi mics. And if you guys were just here, there was Tim and somebody else. You guys hopefully can come back into the chat. I'll turn on the iPad and then I can see the chat better than I can see it from the phone. Oh, hi Tim. Thanks for coming back. Where are you coming in from tonight? Or I should say this afternoon. Kansas. Wow. How's the weather in Kansas? We had a big heat wave here and it was 96 degrees and the AC, of course, crapped out. And my management company did fix it right away. It took a day, though, to get the parts. So that was a little rough. But, of course, you know, now that the AC is fixed, it's cooled down again, and I don't even have the AC. It's not even running right now. Let me turn down the volume on the... Now I can see it better. Okay. And who else is in here? I see there's 2 people in here. Wow, a whole 2 people. Thanks for the thumbs up, whoever did that. Thank you. Oh, hey, Empty Pan. Have you seen my video? You did see the video, didn't you? About the treasure hunter's bucket saga? Let me know and I'll continue with what's going on. I'll give you the update. Yes, you saw it. Okay, thank you. For anybody who's in here who's not in the gold panning community, you can always see that video. Just go to my main channel page under videos. It's my most recent video. I ordered a treasure hunter's bucket off the Bear Prospecting Pay Dirt website. And shockingly, you know, long story short, I didn't get any gold. And I've dealt with Bear Prospecting before, and they're very generous on the gold. So I was shocked, and I panned it. At the time that I wrote them, I panned it 3 times. First I panned it once, then a second, then a third, now a 4th, and I finally just threw out the dirt. It was shocking. There was nothing in there, and I know that they have a very good reputation. They're supposedly honest people, and there wasn't supposed to be a lot of gold in there because it was a treasure hunt. But their website does say that you will get some gold. In fact, here's exactly what it says. The Southern Ohio Tri-State Area Chapter will be hosting 2 large events this year at the Spriggs Claim in Lucasville, Ohio. With these events come the cost of porta potties, extra electric costs, food, and water for our guests, along with getting the claim ready for the events. So below is a picture of our treasure hunters everything buckets. We will be selling these in person for $35 or $50 online and shipped. These cute little galvanized planter buckets will contain placer gold, crystalline silver, and copper nuggets, along with rocks and gems, fossils, and things it just says, and things you find when metal detecting. A treasure hunt in a bucket. The buckets can be purchased online or purchased in person at the Southern Ohio Tri-State Area Chapter meetings. Okay. Well, I purchased it online. $50, free shipping. And if you're watching this, Bear, I see that you spent $19.60 on the shipping. Please go to Pirate Ship or Stamps.com or something similar to that. You'll save yourself a lot of money. I know you would have to have, a computer or a laptop or, even an iPad or a tablet that's hooked to a printer, but you'll save a lot of money on that shipping. That was very expensive to ship that to California, and it didn't weigh that much. I'll show you guys. Excuse me, I had to lean down and grab this. The bucket's like this, so it's not that heavy, but it does have rocks and dirt. And in fact, let me look at their box. I have it right here. It was 2 pounds, 13.8 ounces. So yeah, I think they overpaid for that. I know they're in Indiana, but the tracking said it was shipped from Ohio. So maybe, I don't know. These gold people are always on the road traveling. Well, I got the bucket, and I hunted it now 4 times, and there was no placer gold in the bucket. I did get quite a bit of crystalline silver. And when I first saw this, some of it was so sparkly, I thought, oh my God, did they put crystalline gold in there? Like, I don't think so. But it was just silver. There was one piece of copper, just one, but that's fine. I'd seen a YouTube video. I wish I could remember who it was. They received a bunch of shark teeth, and I was like, oh, wow, shark teeth. But I didn't get any shark teeth, but that's okay. Hi, troubled one. How are you? Thanks for coming in. I'm doing an update here on this bear prospecting treasure hunters bucket. And, I don't want to ruin these people's reputation. Hi, Humble. Welcome in, Humble Stacker. Just so everybody knows, I've been a PI for 41 years. I've dedicated my life since 1984 to fighting crime. I wanted to be a police officer, but I had very terrible eyes. These are just readers now. I've had 4 eye surgeries. I can see a plane at 40,000 feet flying over Los Angeles and tell you how many engines are on the wings and go, oh, that's the plane from Anchorage that's flying over to Guadalajara, Mexico. That's how good my eyesight is now. But I had deplorable eyesight my entire childhood. Wanted to be a police officer, wanted law enforcement. I was even taking criminal justice in college. Out here, they refer to it as AJ, Administration of Justice. It was all for nothing. I eventually left school because the degree was going to be absolutely worthless because I met one of the doctors. One of my personal eye doctors worked for LAPD and said, you'll never get in. And I wouldn't, even if I went back to school and got a 4-year degree, I wouldn't even be able to get into the FBI or the Secret Service. The FBI has the most lenient eyesight rules. I couldn't be a pilot. I couldn't be a cop. The California Department of Insurance wanted to hire me as a PI, but they said that's a peace officer position. And once again, the eyes would not get me in, even though I was fully correctable 2020. Well, long story short, what I'm trying to say is I ended up going into the private sector, 35 years full time. Only the last 6 years, extremely part-time, almost nothing. I'm not bankrupt yet, but I can't live off of disability, even though I paid into the system since I was 17 years old. Hi, Kelly. Just going over this treasure hunters bucket saga. I don't know if you saw the last video, but okay. I've never had a problem with bear prospecting. Bear and Annie, you seem like wonderful people. I think it was just an oversight. Someone forgot to put the gold in this bucket. However, I did speak to another member of the gold community. I'm not going to reveal that person's identity or their name. Found out that someone that I know well in the gold community also purchased, also purchased the same bucket. And that person was personally told that Annie, who is the wife of Bear from Bear Prospecting, that she put together these buckets. Okay. And this person, who shall be nameless, even said, oh my, like I've been telling everybody that Annie made those buckets. I sent them an email. They wrote back the next morning. I'd already received a response. They were sorry. They were going to do whatever they had to do to make it up. Then, I said I was going to hunt it again. Let me hunt it again. Let me check. I checked. I've since hunted it 4 times. There's no gold. And they wrote back, and I haven't heard a response since then. And they said, we are sorry this has happened. And I'm going to go word for word, even with their typos. I'll personally make sure that the gold you get, the gold as a advertised, that's their words, not mine. I'll say that again. I'll personally make sure that the gold you get, the gold as a advertised. These items were a fundraising item for our GPAA chapter, and not the letter AND, but ANN, not made by Bear Prospecting, so I can either, I think they meant either, send you the gold or make up a new bag, the bucket your choice. So I understand what they're trying to say. And because I know they spend almost $20 on postage, I was like, you don't need to make me another bucket. I already have a bucket, but if you could please send me just a little bit of gold pay dirt. I've been told by them in their first email that 0.10, which is 1/10 of a gram, is in every bag. Now, a person who I can't name received actually more than that, which was fantastic. And, they're like that. You buy a gram jar and you'll usually get more than a gram. When I ordered their gram jar, I think I got around a gram, but I was still a newbie then, and I was using the Cleanup Buddy for the first time, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was like, oh my God, like I got almost 100%. Like this is, or it might have even been more. I'd have to look at that video, but I did terrific with them. Everybody does terrific with them. There are very few honest people out there in the gold community. And from what I've been told, Bear Prospecting, Bear and Annie, they're two of those honest people. And I'm also an honest person. If you want to look up my credentials, I have to carry $5 million of insurance just to walk out the door. I haven't renewed my insurance now because I'm disabled. I finally just was like, I can't afford thousands of dollars a year for my insurance when I'm disabled and basically can barely leave my house. Anyway, that's another story. But I have not heard back since they responded that they can either send me the gold or make up a new bag, the bucket, your choice. And I said, no, don't go to the expense of the bucket. But, I did look at their website multiple times, and it does say under the Treasure Hunters bucket that you will get some placer gold, some crystalline silver, which, as I showed you earlier in the video, for those who are just coming in, I did get the crystalline silver. And that you would get some copper nuggets. I would assume mistakes were made and they may have doubled the gold on one bag and shorted yours. That's what I'm thinking, Empty Pan. That's what I'm thinking. But then last night my head went somewhere else because I spoke to someone who said, now wait a minute. Like I think he almost, not that he was calling me a liar, but when I told him that, oh, I got an email from them and they didn't make the buckets. This person was shocked. Like, what do you mean they didn't make the buckets? I was told that Annie made the buckets. Now, maybe they meant that Annie actually put the rocks with the glue on the bucket, and then maybe somebody else put the goodies in the bucket. Like, I'm sure there's just some sort of miscommunication here. Maybe the person that was supposed to put the gold in had them all lined up on an assembly line and missed one. I mean, I don't know. But this person told me, like, oh my gosh, I've been telling everybody that Annie made those buckets. And I've kept all their emails. I have the email from Bear Prospecting that says they didn't make it, but they sold it. And you know what? I don't know if you guys, I don't know all your ages, but have you ever watched the Brady Bunch in Gilligan's Island? Excuse me. It's very dry here in LA today. The executive producer was Sherwood Schwartz. And he once explained to me, oh, yes, yeah, I grew up on these shows. Well, basically, Gilligan's Island was in syndication by the time I was born. But yeah, I grew up on these shows. And I had a 3-hour lunch with him one day in Studio City that was completely unplanned. And it was one of the best days of my life. And he totally understood how I started out as a trainee. And then I worked for other people, but now I had my license and my own business. And he said, you're not just working for someone and taking the cases and solving the cases anymore. You are now the executive producer. In other words, you wear 10 different hats. And I was like, that's exactly, and now you have to hire people to come in and do, some of the investigations because you're too busy. You're running the show now. And I wasn't one just to sit behind a desk. But what I'm trying to say is that when your name is on it, your name is on it. Trouble One says, I'm pretty sure I was also told Annie made those buckets. I may be remembering wrong. Did 2 lives on mine. Troubled One, I'll have to catch those lives. If you still have them up on your YouTube channel, I will look at those later. But thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that when my company name, my name, April Davis, is I'm April Davis of April Davis Investigations, and somebody that is working for me messes up bad, it's on me because it's my company, it's my reputation, and I have to fix it. And my clients, I've worked for, private clients, insurance companies, the state of California, celebrities, big corporations, you name it. And, everybody always says, we like April Davis because she's one of the best and she's a straight shooter. I'm not talented at anything else, but that's not only what I do. I was going to sell my business a few years ago, and another PI friend talked me out of it and said, this is not what you do, it's who you are. And I figured I would do it until the day I died. My license is still valid. I don't have the insurance anymore because why do I need $5 million of insurance just to sit in this apartment and not be able to walk out the door? I've survived stage 3 cancer. I was told I was going to be dead in less than a year if I didn't get emergency treatment. The treatment has since ruined my heart. For those in the gold community that don't know me, if you're watching this now or you're watching this later, I am the most honest person in the world. And when I tell you that there was no gold in there, there was no gold in there. Now, this little gem that came, this is wonderful. This is a little heart locket. Came from a company in Rhode Island, USA, which is my birth state. This happened to have a stamp inside that said 1/20th 12 karat gold plate. Now, of course, if you look at the outside, it looks very bronzy. That's because all the gold has basically worn off, and it was gold over silver. But this isn't the gold that they were talking about, because they said you're going to get some goodies that you might find metal detecting, including they sent me this fossil. And this fossil actually has what's called, right here, there's a little star in it. Don't know if you can see it. You can probably see it better on my recorded video. But this is a crinoid sea lily. And I'm not sure what this is, but this came from the same type of era. It's a fossil. And I don't think they're worth much. I'm going to put it up on eBay today. I've also put this on eBay. Hopefully I can recover some of my money. Oh, hey, you have relatives in Rhode Island. Yeah, we never actually lived there. I was just born there, and I lived in Connecticut. Yeah, the star fossil, it's amazing. And, I didn't know a whole lot about these. I wouldn't worry about it. I would think mistakes are bound to happen. If you deal in quantities they must deal with, I would just send a request on how you would, it just disappeared, like this handle. So I did respond, and I said, no need to go to the expense of another bucket, because I know it did cost almost $20 to ship. But if you can just send me, the gold pager, I would appreciate that. Thank you, And that was yesterday. I have not heard back. And I thought I'd probably hear back this morning. I have never, and they have been emailing me the whole time. And they did respond, within a matter of hours. I sent the email in the evening, and the next morning, it was already there. And then I said, well, let me hunt it again. Let me hunt it again. So I did. That was the second time. And then I wrote them, and I'm like, no, like there's nothing there. And then I, did the video. And by the time I did the video, I did it 3 times. And then I started to do it a 4th time last night. And then I just gave up. And I did not, I did tell Troubled One that I was going to pull out the cleanup buddy, and I was going to take a look through the cleanup buddy. And, I don't have very much room in my place, in my kitchen. And I was just like, do I want to make the big mess? And have you ever put the bucket up for sale? No, I just got this. They travel a lot. I'm sure they'll get back to you soon. And, that's what I figured. And I did have a question in the video. Nobody's been able to answer it yet. I know that their company name is obviously Bear Prospecting, but the return address said Southern Ohio Tri-State, but it had their address, and I'm not going to give it out, but it's in Indiana. But the package itself was tracking from Ohio. But I know a lot of these gold hunters are older people. They're retired and they get to travel. I wish I could do that. Most of the people I know in this community are on the East Coast or the Midwest. I know Humble's out in, I think, Seattle area. And that's still a long ways for me, but I don't really know anybody in Southern California in this community. Most of the people that I watch in these shows are all back east somewhere, or the Midwest. Pennsylvania, Missouri, New York, Ohio, Indiana. Does anybody know what Southern Ohio Tri-State is in relation to bear prospecting pay dirt, because bear prospecting, that was the website. Okay, they had an event in Southern Ohio for Memorial Day. Maybe they shipped it while on the road. Very possible. And I think that they walked into a post office. I'm going to cover my address, but because I gave out my home address, not my business address. So my business address is always in the description of my regular videos. If I know you, and I know you well, then you can get the home address. But the packages, they charge a pickup fee. So when I know I have a package coming, I do provide my home address so that it's even hard for me to get to the box. I get there maybe once every week to 10 days. I don't know, Humble, if it's a DBA. Maybe it has something to do with that group that they have in Ohio. I don't know, but I have not heard back since and I was very nice and all. It was very professional because I think these are very nice people. I've always chatted with them in other people's lives, and they seem like they're sweethearts. Most people in the gold industry are not honest people. Maybe that's their GPAA chapter name and address, possibly. I don't know. That's why I put it in the video, because I knew they were in Indiana, but it came from Ohio and it had a different name, but it had their address. So I just wasn't sure. But it is on their website. Go to anybody here after this video, you can go to bearprospecting.com. You can see they say they have 2 buckets left. They were supposed to sell them. They had planned to sell them between 35 and 50. I think if you bought it in person, it was like 35 if you were at this whatever function was in Ohio. But then they charged 50 to mail them because they had to pay for the postage. And me being in California, because they apparently don't know how to use like Pirate Ship or stamps.com. Yeah, their rep is very solid, and I've researched this a lot. There's only a few people that are known to be honest, and you're one of them, Troubled One. I will always buy from you. And bear prospecting. I'd like to buy another one of their 1 gram jars because they're so generous. Lately, I have just had, I'll say something that Bob from B&B Prospecting Pay Dirt said. He goes, if it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. And I shouldn't say that because I was a winner from his show, and I won like a free bag, and I didn't record it, but it was fantastic. So Bob, you're one of the honest people out there too. I didn't even have to pay for it. It was one of the best bags I ever received. And of course, all the bags I've received from Troubled One are great. Although that last one that had that flower gold, that was a bitch for me. Excuse my language. And then I used that little that boat that you sent me, that way boat. And let's see if I can find it right here, the flimsy one. And I was trying, because it's white and I could see the little dirt specks very nice. I put it in here and boom, there it went. And as I was leaning down on the floor to pick it back up, boom, it went. My hands I have neuropathy in my hands and my toes, and nothing on my body works anymore. So even now, this is dangerous for me to hold. So I was trying to get some of the more of the black sand out, and that I lost that whole batch, and I just gave up. Flower gold is not for me. I am, I'm not a newbie, but I'm certainly not an expert like Troubled One. No, that's just not for me. Like I saw that kinky bag picture that you had posted, and it was just like, oh Jesus, how did you do that? Oh my God, I'd never be able to get the little flower gold or the kinky gold over to the side of the pan, but I'm not a newbie anymore. And everybody that knows me, they know that I'm an honest person. I don't think Bear and Annie know me very well. I hope they don't think that, I'm trying to commit some sort of fraud against them. I was going to send that pay dirt to somebody. I even considered sending it to Troubled One, but then I thought, you know what? I'm going to have to let it dry out, and I'm going to have to bag it up. I'm going to have to pay for postage, and I'm already out $50 because I didn't get what was promised. And I thought, well, maybe some of the bags have gold, but not all of the bags. So that's when I went to the website, and it says that it will contain some placer gold. So then I contacted them, and they did say that there should be 1/10 of a gram. And I do know someone personally who got more than 1/10 of a gram. I got 0. And if you, for those that are watching that are not in the gold panning hobby, there's something called flour gold, or also there's fly poop gold. I'm not quite sure if it's the same, but it's so tiny that you can see it sparkle in the pan, but you can't pick it up. Oh, you got over 1/10 also, troubled one. Wow. See, they're extra generous. It's only, and they don't even promise. And this is not like a guaranteed amount, but they did admit to me in writing. I have that. I can show it to people that they put 1/10 of a gram in every bag. But, they probably also seeded a little extra just because they're nice people. So how the heck did I get this bucket full of rocks? And then I was sad because the reason I ordered it was not really for the gold, but somebody I was watching was hunting it, and they were pulling out shark teeth. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I can't get to the beach anymore. And, oh, I'm going to get shark teeth. Nope, didn't get not even one. But see, that wasn't promised. It wasn't promised. But I did get this little it's called LS Company, which stands for Lewis Stern. They are out of Rhode Island, and they made these little lockets in the early to mid 20th century. So this was made in the 1900s. If it was made more than 100 years ago, like if it was from 1925 or older, it would be antique. I don't think it is. If it's 20 years or older, which it definitely is, because I know this company's not even around anymore. And another thing, why are so many of these famous old vintage jewelry companies located in my birth state? I live in a city that's bigger than the state I was born. So it just amazes me that like Goldet and LS Company, which is Lewis Stern, and some other companies that I do the jewelry treasure hunts. There's a lot of companies that are out of Rhode Island, or they'll be based in Manhattan, but they'll actually have their jewelry made in Rhode Island. So there's a lot of craftsmen that used to be in Rhode Island. And you can put a little picture in here. This will be on my eBay at aprildavispi if anybody's interested in this. I'd like to keep it. It takes about 20 to 25 years for the gold on the gold-filled item to wear off. Okay. I also got this little baby. It's a baby ring. It's only a size 3, and I polished it last night as best as I could. It won't even fit like on my pinky. It's like for a baby, I think, or a little girl. Nobody's a size 3. I mean, this is my pinky. That's a size 3. And by the way, all the rings that I wear, which are not great rings, but these are all rings that were found treasure hunting. Yeah. I should do a video once and show you guys some of my metal detecting finds, but it's like Fort Knox around here, just in case, because you never know who might be lurking. So I'm very careful about what I show. Yes, it was gold filled. That 1/20th marking means it was gold filled. Did I say plated? It was 12 karat 1/20th gold filled on sterling. And also, when you hear that, they use the word sterling rather than silver, or rather than 925, you know that it's older. Now, this ring, even though it looked very old, it's not as old as I thought, because it is stamped 925. Okay, go take care of the dog, Empty. Thanks for coming. Really old silver will be stamped sterling or sterling silver or SS, where more of the modern silver will be stamped 0.925. Well, that would be for the U.S. I actually had some British silver in Santa Monica Beach. For those that don't know, LA is the largest UK population outside of the UK. So the British, other than the UK, there's the second largest populated place in the world is Los Angeles. And a lot of them do live in West LA and Santa Monica. So there is a lot of British jewelry that does get found on the beach. And I did find some British silver, and that's actually marked 0.950, which is also the platinum marking. but I can tell the difference by the weight. So there's, 0.95 British silver, there's 0.95 platinum. But when you see 0.925 rather than just sterling or sterling silver or SS, that's more in the modern day. So yeah, so trying to can't do that while I'm filming backwards, but that's the little ring that I got. And then this little thing, okay, GTG, gotta go, see everyone later. I'm gonna lose signal going to the mountains. Okay, thanks for coming, Humble. Look at this. This is somehow, it's not connected to this fossil that has the sea lily crinoid star in it. But this is also some sort of a fossil. When I first showed this live, or not live, but recorded, I was like, it's some sort of a little stone, like a little barrel. Like, what the heck is this? And I didn't realize that this is a fossil too. So when you see this listing on eBay, I'm going to just throw this in as an added bonus. That's what this is. But, I hope that Bear Prospecting, I hope they got my return email when I said, listen, you don't need to send me another bucket. If you're watching, please don't send another bucket. It's going to be too much postage for you. I have a bucket right here. I have all the rocks in the bucket. I had some keys. I had 2 wheat pennies from 1929. Couple little broken pieces. There was a little broken rusty key. It was just rusty. I threw that out. And there was something that had some little ZZs on it, but it was broken and rusty, so I threw that out. But I saved the fossils. I saved the ring. It'll be on my eBay today, Kelly. Thanks for asking. I'm worried. I'm worried that I'm going to sell this, and it's going to, somebody who knows more about this than me is going to buy this, and it's going to be worth like 10 grand or something. So if anybody wants it, it'll be on eBay. The listing may have already gone live. But if you're watching this, Bear and Annie, I know that it was just some sort of a mistake. Please, everybody, don't come down on me. Everybody, you know me, you know that I'm honest. And I've been hunting at least a year now, maybe a little more. I did this in the past a few years ago too, and then I stopped, and then I got into it again because of my disability. I've done pretty well with, what limited funds I have being disabled. Let me grab some, and I'll show them to you. It should be right here in this little, oh, here we go. And I have crystalline silver too from the past. I have this. Now this did not come from Bear Prospecting. This came from a combination of people, including Troubled One. And, but this is about 9.5 grams of gold. I will have to sell this at some point. I'd love to know what percentage I can get for this as far as its value. So I've got about 9.5 grams here. Yeah, but lately everything went wrong. Like the Golden Pay Dirt Saga. Yeah, this is some of yours, Troubled. Yeah, I love silver. This is awesome. And this is the silver that was in the crystalline silver that was in the bucket from Bear and Annie. But I don't know. The thing happened with the Golden Pay Dirt. And by the way, 70% a spot if you sell to a vendor. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you for answering that question, Chris. Just to give you a short update on the Golden Pay Dirt, the one that arrived late, and it was not what I ordered, and the box got lost, and I had to file a missing mail claim to get it, and then it arrived with a hole in it, and the bags were, well, there's supposed to be 6 bags, and there was one. There was only one, and the dirt wasn't what they said it was, but there was a hole in the box. eBay basically just said, you know what, all you have to do is we're going to send you a label for free. You send it back. As soon as we see that it arrives, we're going to give you a full refund, no questions asked. We believe you. And, I had pictures, videos, I had everything to prove it. And, I've been on there 24 years. They trusted me. I handed it to my postman personally. He scanned it right in front of me. So there it went. And guess what? USPS has lost that box. And I used the label that eBay sent. Now I had to tape the label on because the labels that they send for return do not work with the thermal printer. They don't format right. So you have to print them on, laser printer and then cut them with the damn scissors and put the tape on. And, eBay fixed that so that your return labels will actually come out of the thermal label printer, just like labels that you purchase on items that you sell. So maybe that got caught. I taped it well, and I make sure not to tape over the barcode. They've lost 3 of my packages in the last 4 months. Cost me around $400. Yeah. So they lost a package going from Virginia, and of course they didn't send it right away. Well, if you look at the tracking, it says that it's still in Virginia, that it was never sent. But then I located it in Woodland Hills, which is probably 8-10 miles from here. And then they were able to get it to me right away, but it was damaged. But even if it hadn't been damaged, it wasn't what I bought. So eBay, I've been working with them. They've been excellent. They're going to refund me. But guess what? If they don't get that package within a certain amount of time, eBay's going to cancel the return. So I had to call them again. They've extended the return, and I'm like, I'm doing everything I can. I'm filing another missing mail claim. I actually got a call from a postal clerk that was in Falls Church, Virginia, where it was returned. I missed her call. You can't call them back. So it took 2 days, but I got to a human being who said, your next step, you've got to file an indemnity claim for lost mail. You've already sent it. It got lost. You filed a missing mail claim. Then I tried to file for a refund, and they said, no, that's a postage refund, and you wouldn't get that through eBay anyway. The dirt was cursed. But this all happened around the time that I did that order off of Amazon from somebody else, and it turned out I was their first customer, and there was just fly poop, and I sent it back to Amazon. They sent me another bag, and I'm like, no, I didn't ask for another bag. I asked for a refund. So they're like, well, you're going to have to send that back. So I sent that back. That got straightened out. I have been refunded for that. I'm now, because this package is lost, eBay, they can't put the credit in my account yet. They can't put the damn credit in my account. Excuse my language here. I'm just, so much has happened. And then I get this beautiful bucket that either was or wasn't made by Annie, because now I'm getting, they said they didn't make the buckets. Somebody here says Annie did make the buckets. Maybe they meant that she actually made, the pretty part, like with the rocks. And then maybe somebody else put the goodies in them. But all I know is that they sold it to me and they mailed it to me and it was empty. I think it's a mistake. But it's just after I heard that, hey, I've been telling everybody that Annie made those buckets because that's what they told me. And then they tell me that she didn't make the buckets. And I said, they were so generous to offer me another bucket. And I'm like, please, no. It's okay. You don't need to send me. I already have a bucket. But I want the pay dirt, It doesn't have to be much gold. I know this is not a return on investment type of bucket. You're paying basically for the bucket, the postage, and you're paying for whatever goodies are in there. And I got the 2 wheat pennies. I got the gold-filled locket that's very old. I got the little baby sterling ring. I got the fossil. I got the crystalline silver. I did put there was a little copper piece. You can see that in my long 48-minute video, whatever it was. Oh my God. And then there was problems with the editing of that video. It took like 3 days and there's some typos in there. It's just like, I finally just gave up. Like whatever it is, everybody watch. People probably won't watch it till the end, but the gist of the story is I paid the money. I'm on disability. I wasn't kidding in that video when I said I'm going to live here until the rent money runs out. This was a lot for me to invest, just for my pleasure to have a little bit of fun between these 4 walls. And then, lay awake in bed for the last 2 nights, 3 nights, whatever it's been, going, oh, why didn't I get my gold? Like, I don't understand. And, starting to worry that at some point I'm going to have to sell this, and how much is 9.5 grams of gold worth on the market with another, it's going to crush me to sell this, but I'm in survival mode. My life is not about me anymore. It's about trying to stay alive and keep healthy for my little ones, for my Kelsa kitty, and for Amelia Kinsley bunny. They are my whole reason for existing after everything I've been through. My identity of who I am has basically been ripped from me because, cancer. I've lost 3 grandparents to cancer. I lost my father to cancer. I lost one of my bunnies to cancer. Yeah, Chris, I know you've been through your own trials and tribulations in your life, but you're still here, buddy, and I'm so glad you are, and I'm so glad that I have your friendship. I wish you were closer than Ohio, but you can message me anytime. This community is great. Once again, don't be upset with me, people. I'm trying to get other people who have bought these buckets. Yes, that's what everybody tells me. My friend Kelsa, the real Kelsa, not the kitty Kelsa, but the real Kelsa, she used to tell me that too. And then, she was helping me survive as a friend. She was, she was the humor in my life. Came into me during my treatment, before my radiation, and went through it all with me except for the chemo. And then what happened? She dropped dead. Like, the healthiest person I ever met in my life, older than me. And, had the body of a 25-year-old, gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous. How could somebody my age or older be drop dead gorgeous, but gorgeous, healthy, never got sick, and drops dead from a very unfortunate situation, which I won't go into here. If you guys want to go to my playlist and go to the RIP, the rest in peace videos, you can see the great Kelsa Kinsley. So, I've been through it, and if it weren't for my jewelry hunting and my gold hunting, I can't go beach detecting anymore. I can't go park detecting anymore. I've sold most all my equipment. I don't even own any metal detectors anymore. I haven't renewed my PI business insurance because there's really no point. I am renewing my DMV account since I have full access to the state of California DMV. Well, I have access to all the DMVs, but it's through California that I have access. And no, I'm not a cop, but as a PI with the proper, paperwork and bond, I'm able to have access. And, I did just renew my DMV access. That takes about 2 months for that. So I still have access to that. It's only for investigations only. So don't anybody be calling me asking me to run plates, because I won't be able to do that for you. It's for business only. I have renewed, I renew my PI license every year. Or every 2 years, I renew my guard card. I chose not to go with the expense of renewing my RPS card. I didn't feel like physically I could make the drive all the way to Norwalk, which is, on the southern end of LA County. It's about a 45-minute to an hour drive, plus hours of standing in line, so that I could, spend $300 to get a card that I'll never be able to use again because I really am not physically well enough. Can you flag my ex-wife's car as stolen or something? Probably not. It would depend. I can talk to you about that later. Anyway, yeah, everybody knows me. I'm honest. Like I said, I was even going to send this to somebody. I was even thinking of Troubled One. Maybe I could send it to him, but I was like, you know what? That's just a waste of time and a waste of his time and a waste of money. And there's nothing in it. I mean, and even with the missing gold from Golden Pay Dirt, there was a little bit. It wasn't much. Have I thought of a lottery pay dirt bag? No, I haven't. I don't have any extra dirt, actually. But that's a good idea. I don't know. I would label it, from Kelsa the Gold Panning Kitty. Yeah, this is just between the Amazon situation and the Golden Pay Dirt situation, and now I can't get my refund from eBay because they don't have the seller doesn't have the darn shipment because it's lost. And 5 grams, $5 a spot. Oh, okay. Or 0.5 grams. Not 5 grams. 0.5 gram, $5 a spot. I don't know. I usually have like 3 people that watch my videos. You might know someone who can help you out with some dirt if you decide to do that. Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks for coming, Kel. Make sure you check out that eBay listing. And there it is. And I don't know what this piece is called, but it's also a fossil from the dinosaur era. But yeah, you can actually see the little shells, and you can see the star in there. Yeah, you can't see the whole body, but you can see the sea lily cryptoid. That's pretty cool, don't you think? Yeah, it is. Now, for any of you who have been following us in Southern California, you know that, I'll just go off topic for a minute. We have our eagles, Jackie and Shadow, and this year they actually had triplets. One of them didn't make it, during this. Oh, there they are now. Don't know if you can hear that. One of them did not make it through the snowstorm. One of them had to sacrifice. That was Misty, gender unknown. The survivors, Sunny and Gizmo. Sunny was thought to be a boy, has recently been identified as most likely female now. She's the second one in the line. Gizmo, definitely a girl because she's so much larger than her sibling. The females are larger. Through their vocalizations, they have been able to pretty much determine like 90% that these eagles are girls. And today, had to shed a happy tear. It's bittersweet, but Sunny fledged. And that means that Sunny, for the very first time, actually flew and left the nest. Now, it's very possible that she will come back and stick around for the next several weeks to maybe a month or two, so she can still learn from her parents as far as fishing and hunting, and but we did have 2 successful eaglets this year that have survived, sisters, believed to be sisters, rather than brother and sister. And it's very emotional today for us in Southern California. I was actually asleep when it happened. I don't sleep much at night anymore, but it happened today. And Sunny left the nest. So congratulations to the parents, Jackie and Shadow. You've done a wonderful job. You are the heart and soul of all of us here in Southern California. Now, sadly, if you've been watching my videos, you will see the situation with Billy and Tina. They are in Tulsa. I do have my minions in Tulsa. And let's hope for the best for Billy and Tina. Thank you for everybody that came here today. If anybody else besides Trouble One bought one of these buckets and wants to, send me some information, please feel free. There are quite a few stones in here that I was not able to identify. If somebody like Mama Bird or Careless Whispers or any of you, male or female, treasure hunters that know anything about rocks, maybe you can help me identify some of the stones that came with the bucket. If you're interested in the locket, go to my eBay. If you're interested in the 2 sea lily fossils, go to my eBay. And Chris, thank you so much for letting me know that on open market that I could get 70%. Thank you so much. I haven't decided what to do with it yet. I don't think I have a big enough following for a lottery bag, but thank you for that idea. This is the silver little ring. It's very beautiful. I wish I could wear it, but obviously I am not a size 3. 2 wheat pennies. Hey, save your pennies. There's going to be no more penny production as of 2026, so save those pennies. And happy hunting, everybody. If you want to contact me in the comments afterwards, feel free to do so. Share this video. Once again, bear prospecting. And Annie, I don't have any issues with you. I hope you saw my most recent message that you don't need to send me another bucket, but I would appreciate the gold, and if you could put it in some dirt so I could actually hunt it. I could practice. Thank you for coming, everybody. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are, you're my YouTube family. I love each and every one of you. And have a good day.